diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not awake. Yeah. I don't even know why I bothered setting my alarm this morning, because apparently I must have woke up, turned it off or something. I guess 10 hours of sleep just wasn't enough, huh? No. So I'm checking on stuff like that. And you guys might want to check in. I'm checking it. I think my breathing has something to do with it. I'm calling the quit line today. I'm going to quit smoking. It's time. It's time, guys. Get rid of this. You guys hear how I'm talking? It's from smoking and stuff. I'm not going to be able to do half the impressions I do anymore, but that's okay. Darla, good to see you. I guess we're waiting. We'll wait on Jennifer, too, if you want. Good to see you, Darla. If we could, you guys, since Darla is here, I've been praying anyway, but Darla's got a family member currently in the hospital, and her poor Darla, you keep going, Mama Bear. You keep. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to. I don't like being. I don't like talking about other people's personal stuff, but Christian, there you go. I believe this is your son. So you are absolutely welcome. You are absolutely welcome, Darla. That's what we're here for. You tell I'm not awake. I'm calling you. I just mixed up Christian and your name is what I did. Jill, as always, I miss you, honey. I miss you right now. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about half measures. And when it comes to life, when it comes to recovery, that must be Willie. Hey, Willie, good to see you, brother. Half measures will really avail you absolutely nothing. All right. It doesn't matter what you put into it at that point, because you're not going to get anything out of it. Usually a half measure has to do with something about the work, right? Today I tried to half measure it with this. Didn't work. Well, I just don't feel like I'm tired and I don't feel like doing it. So I tried to half measure it. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna read on that one. I'm like, no, I gotta read this part too. We got it, right? So let's get into this stuff. Merely to change my behavior and what I say and do doesn't prove that there's been a change at my inner attitude. Do you feel different? This is where gut checks are great. Okay, gut checks. Why? Because your conscious lives there. And if you have made it through even one step, even just one step, your attitude has changed. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. Might be worse. Never usually really. Now I've seen it get worse before it got better, especially if they were forced into AA. Mandated, I think, is the word I'm looking for on that. Nobody likes to be mandated to make change. Nobody likes that. I don't care who you are. I'm deceiving myself if I truly believe I can somehow completely disguise my true feelings. You are human, and you are going to do something. I'll catch it. I tell you that right now. I will catch it. Okay? Because as human beings, we do things a certain way. We cannot help ourselves. So here's a great example. So, hold on. I have a little thing I'm getting. There won't be any more coughing. I'm so tired of coughing. All right. I'm getting on myself about things that I hate about smoking. You guys know what I'm doing. All right. Now I'm getting to the phase of, I hate this smoking thing, because I really love it. I love smoking. All right. trying to change my attitude on that. I'm doing everything that I can to give myself a chance. So the next few weeks, I'm probably going to be talking about quitting smoking a lot because that's what's going on in my life. I have to avoid, they'll somehow come through prolonging the difficulties in my relationship with others. So when we do half measures, not only do we get nothing out of it, but it also prolongs anything that we're trying to do. And I'll tell you why. Because we are building trust with other people, and they're going to see that we are not trustworthy yet. They're going to know that. How are they going to do that? They're going to gut check themselves. I have to avoid half measures and getting rid of troublesome emotions I've been trying to hide. Have I taken an honest inventory of myself? That is going to be probably the hardest thing in your life that you will ever do, is to take a self-inventory. It is also the most relieving. You get freedom. You get all sorts of stuff out of it. Okay. You won't know until you do it. It's a little different for everyone. I know the feelings will come out of somehow. They're going to come out. Okay. And if you're a man, I'm going to tell you, this part we don't need to go over. I'm going to tell you, as a man, and women too, it'll mostly switch to anger. And then it'll go to depression, and it's going to kind of switch off between the two. And that's what it's going to look like to you, is anger and depression. Well, what it really was you creating a half measure, not getting your expectation. Now you're whining like a little fucking baby. That's what's actually going on, right? So if we're honest with ourselves in the very beginning, from the very start, well, as honest as we can, right? Because in the beginning, I don't think we can be all that honest. We can, to a certain extent. The most honest we can really be is, I don't know. And that's great. That's probably the best answer I've ever heard in my fucking life. I don't know. It's good to see you, Patricia. I hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you doing too much on Facebook, so I'm presuming that you're doing good. So good to see you. All right, let's get to the daily reflection itself. We are about halfway through. Holy crap, there's a lot here. We better get started. Every man and woman who has joined AA and intends to stick without realizing it has made a beginning on step 3. Isn't it true that in all matters touching upon alcohol, each of them has decided to turn his or her life over to the care, protection, and the guidance of Alcoholics Anonymous? Yes. In a sense, we have, right? Especially if we've already taken steps 1 and 2, right? See, when you get into AA, the thing is you start hanging around, or any meeting, guys. It's just that I'm an AA. Let's say you go to Recovery Works or whatever, right? Or Life Ring. So you go to Life Ring, you feel comfortable there, right? So what happens is you guys are going through common problems together, dire, life-saving problems together, okay? So when you walk away and you feel like these people have given you hope, do you know what you've done? You've obligated yourself. You've changed your intentions. You've already started changing. I'm getting chills here. You've already started changing, and you just don't know it yet, right? I got to stop 2-star after Variety had to keep one bad habit, self-admin. I can build shit at anyone but me. Willie. Any willing newcomer feels sure AA is the only safe harbor for the foundering vessel he has become. Now, if that's not turning one's will and life over to a newfound providence, then what is? Then what is it? We had somebody do that with the group last week. And you know what they decided to do? They decided to turn around and be honest with the group. Okay. And it had to do with their sobriety date. It would have come out. We would have seen it, guys. We would have known. Okay. Doesn't mean we would have said, hey, you need it. No, we don't work that way, right? But what we did is we gave that person a chance to be honest without any repercussion. Actually, there was a repercussion. Okay, repercussions are not always bad. It depends on how you take them. Every word is like that. All right. So that isn't bad. It's good. I would much rather somebody have a week and be honest about it than 6 months of bullshit. Okay. Quality, not quantity. So I'm going to read the last part of step 3 because we always read the middle part. And there's always good stuff towards the end of every chapter. Every chapter almost always ends. In fact, I was going to say always, but I'm going to stick the almost in there. Ends with hope. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it does. Then I explained that other steps of AA program can be practiced with success only when step 3 is given a determined and persistent trial. Okay. So when you get a trial period, it is usually for how long? 30 days, 2 weeks, right? Okay. So what does that tell you? That tells you give yourself some time on step 3. God's sakes, it is a very big step. This statement may surprise newcomers who have experienced nothing but constant deflation and a growing conviction that human will is of no value whatever. They have become persuaded, and rightly so, that many problems besides alcohol will not yield to the headlong assault powered by the individual alone. But now it appears that there are certain things which only the individual can do all by himself. Okay. In this case, creating a relationship with a power greater than yourself. That is a personal relationship, and that is between you and God. It is going to be your first successful relationship. Okay. Now, the reason that a lot of my relationships have become successful is because they're based on the same concept as my relationship with my higher power, unconditional love. He needs to develop the quality of willingness. When he acquires willingness, he is the only one who can make the decision to exert himself. Trying to do this is an act of his own will. All the 12 steps require sustained and personal exertion to conform to their principles, and so we trust to God's will. It is when we try to make our will conform with God's that we begin to use it rightly. To all of us, this was the most wonderful revelation. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. So we're going to take willpower, okay, and we're going to keep half of it, and we're going to turn it into willingness. Our whole trouble had been the misuse of willpower. We had tried to bombard our problems with it instead of attempting to bring it into agreement with God's intention with us. Have you guys ever been to a court proceeding, anything else where there was a mediator involved? Okay. Maybe you had a mediator when you got a traffic ticket or something. You're talking to the DA, right? And you guys are figuring out a problem and you're coming into agreement with it. Okay. God is the mediator in this case. To make this increasingly possible is the purpose of AA's 12 steps, and step 3 opens the door. Once we have come into agreement, okay, we're just agreeing. We still haven't done anything. We haven't even started on the work yet, okay? It's real easy to begin the practice of step 3. In all times of emotional disturbance or indecision, we can pause, ask for quiet, and the stillness simply say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. That last part is very, very important. We are over. So I'm going to get through this last part. We have one quick paragraph. Actually, it's not quick. Submission to God was the first step to my recovery, right? Step one. I believe our fellowship seeks a spirituality open to the new kinship with God. As I exert myself to follow the path of the steps, I sense a freedom that gives me the ability to think for myself. That's what we're trying to get to, okay? To where we can use this again. I'm using this right now, and I use it throughout the day. Why? Because I've come into agreement with things going on in my life. God and I have come to an agreement. He takes care of certain shit, and I take care of certain shit. Okay? It's just like my wife and I. She takes care of certain things. I take care of certain things. Like, she's better at taking care of the car insurance. She knows the lingo a little bit better than me. I did a lot of banking. I take care of the banking. It's our skills, and we utilize our skills based on the knowledge that we have. Don't ask me where half these words come from. As I exert myself to follow the steps, I sense a freedom. Yeah. My addiction confined me without any release and hindered my ability to be released from my self-confinement. But AA sure assures me of a way to go forward. Mutual sharing, concern, and caring for others is a natural gift to each other, and mine is strengthened as my attitude toward God changes. I learned to submit to God's will in my life, to have self-respect, and to keep both of these attitudes by giving away what I receive, right? So give it away, give it away, give it away now. Give it away now. You guys like some Red Hot Chili Peppers? Right? Give it away. Okay? Okay. If you have a week, share your experience, strength, and hope. If you have a month, share your experience, strength, and hope. If you have 5 years, guess what? Share your experience, strength, and hope. You can help when no one else can. You can. Period. I love you guys. Peace out. Have a day. We'll see you tomorrow.